And do I feel guilty of not dragging my kids outside and touch the grass? Yes, I do. Every single non-rainy day. Hello, dreamers. Welcome to my podcast. My name is Sophie, and I am a watercolorist. I am the artist and owner of Dream in Watercolor Studio, and you can find me in Dream in Watercolor. If you're first time here, I am doing a podcast to release my oversharing energy and talk about everything from being an artist to run an art business and being a single mom and how everything in my life tied together. And I invite you to be on this journey. I hope that you relate to my experience and hopefully that you will make decisions in your life that make you feel more alive and terrified and exciting at the same time. So, in this episode of my podcast, I'm talking about me as a creative person with all my creative traumas and doubts raising creative kids. Before we dive in, I would like to introduce you to one of my paintings. So you are looking at the whale. So all my square paintings are my random thoughts. Just these images in my head just make me feel like I need to capture it. I need to capture these moments, whether they come from looking at people's photos or movies or things like that. So I go out and find a reference I can use to capture these thoughts in my head. And this is a whale get drawn to the light on the surface of the ocean, and soon after it will breach through the surface of the ocean. And this make me feel hopeful because that feels like I'm about to take a deep breath. And so if you like this painting, you can find prints of all sizes and all materials on my website at dreamingwatercolor.com. And please support a real artist, someone who do their artworks with real materials and with their hands and eyes and brains. So thank you. Now let's dive into creatives, parenting creatives. I don't think anyone labels themselves like I am a creative until you are grown up and you realize, oh, I'm a I'm different from other people. So when I was a kid, I grew up in a very different society. I grew up in China where even probably today, if you know anything about the Chinese culture, is very academic focused. That was the same when I was little. So the society is very academic focused, and you as a kid, whether you have potential to thrive or not, is really based on your how you perform with grades. So it's of most important that you are capable of performing academically, and performing academically uh was a struggle for me. I'm one of those kid that doodles my schoolwork or textbook or my clothes or anything I got in my hand rather than listening to the teacher. And I often find myself don't know what's going on. I don't know when the test is. I don't know when the assignment is due. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why I don't do good on certain tests, and I don't know how to stop myself from just doodling. And often I will swear up and down with a teacher or parent that I will stop doing this and I will be a good student. I will study hard. And the next thing I know, a doodle just appeared on my textbook and I listened nothing about the lesson of the day. it was very confusing growing up. And I don't think I thought much about whether I was different from other people. I just assumed that other people must had worked much harder than I did in self control and self discipline, and then they do better at school. And when I had kids and my kids start to doodle, as all kids, are encouraged to express themselves creatively at one point when they were about four-ish, when they can hold crayon, they have that fine motor skill developing. And my daughter was able to draw a picture of our living room with a 3D perspective. Oh, look at that. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a little artist kiddo just so I didn't realize how much I buried my memory of drawing and doodling in the back of my head because for a period of my life, I was really the grown up now. I really have us, I really have my life together and I am just organized, capable, um, rational human being until I start to look at my kids doodle. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember. I remember that. And I was that kid, and I struggled and was very confused as that kid. And I kind of got worried as behalf of my kid. It's like, oh no, you're one of those kid, and I know that you are going to struggle as one of those kid, just like I struggled when I was little. But the good thing is now I look at my daughter and I said, it's okay. You don't, at least the suffering does not have to come from me. You are free to doodle away. We are better off now. You will have unlimited supply of sketch papers and the pencils and the crayons and the markers. You can do whatever and you will not be turned away when you have a masterpiece. You will be celebrated, you'll be encouraged, and all that. And my son was not much of an artist when he started to experiment, but I'm starting to think that's because the artist role is already casted and it was already given to my daughter and he wants to have his own piece of pie as this family dynamic. So when he was a little kid, he was really good at math. He was a little math wizard and he was like, "Oh, I am the math kid." And my sister is really good at drawing. She can draw anything. She's just awesome artist. And it was not until lately that he's like, "Oh, I like to be creative too," and he going to this frenzy of drawing cats and mountains, which is awesome. I'm like, wow, your artwork is really complete, very thoughtful, and like well composed and engineered. And uh, uh, so turns out I have two creative kids. So the struggle that come with having being a creative and having two creative kids. People will say both you and your kids must be on the same wavelength and you must, dig each other's art. And it's awesome. They're lucky to have you as a mother who understand what it feels like to be a creative. And you, on the other hand, get to enjoy kids who share your interest and which all those are very true. It's amazing. It's amazing to know that my kids have a parent who understand their creative energy that needs to be released, and being a mother who is like, "Oh, look at you having my artistic genes, and how wonderful is that?" Um, but there are challenges, and I like to share my experience, my struggles. It does not change my cultural programming that I am terrified on the inside that I am not preparing them academically to succeed in life because everyone around me, Asian or not Asian, are very focused on having good grades and then extracurricular activities. But I also understand that it's not like my kids chose to be a creative, to doodle and draw. It's it's like a innate energy that needs to be released. And then when that energy is not released properly, they have a hard time participating in academic to do well in school. It's interference. It's not I choose one and then I do the other. And it makes me very worried that I am indulging them, releasing that creative energy as long as they want. I am emphasizing to them that academic is important and they need to pay attention in class. They need to turn in their work on time and they need to do well on tests or at least finish their test. There was this incident where my daughter came home with a math test that didn't do great. And I said, let's look at it. Let's see what you struggle with. And she showed me the test. And I realized that she is missing a lot of the question. It's undone test. She only completed a third of the test. And I said, what happened to all the other questions that you didn't do? She says, oh, I started drawing and I forgot I was in a test. And then next thing, the time's over. I got so concerned. I said, "Oh my gosh, kids, let's talk about test taking." I don't know whether you realize that test taking is a very serious matter and you need to work better on not start a doodle when you're on test. The teacher later told me that to not worry because she understands that when kids like my daughter is stressed, drawing is her way of calming herself down. And she says that she will give my daughter a 5-minute timer and she can doodle for 5 minutes and she will remind her to end her doodle and go back focusing on the test. I did not know that was an option because that's not how I was raised. That's too inclusive and too kind to be realistic in my perspective. And I just thought, oh my gosh, look at how lucky you are. You have a teacher that's very understanding of your creative energy. But do I worry that she's going to suffer academically? And I am not doing a parent's job of emphasizing that. Oh gosh, yes, I do. I battle the shame and guilt of not using my authority as a parent to set my kids up for success every single day. And in addition, if you are a creative and you have been in a state of flow or is one of those kids that love to read excessively or love to draw excessively or love to crochet or whatever that is that you're creating things into life, you are perfecting that skill and you're totally into the process, you might also understand the concern that you're not getting enough outdoor time. You're not a sport person, you're not outdoor person, and it's not like you waste your time scrolling on phone or watching too much TV. You're just not outside. And do I feel guilty of not dragging my kids outside and touch the grass? Yes, I do. Every single non-rainy day. Actually, my anxiety about that lowers when the weathers are awful. Then I'm like, stay home, be safe, do your drawings and all that. And when it's beautiful outside, and I go, okay, at least I need to suggest to go outside, and usually they don't want to. And then I battle, should I drag them outside? Should I install healthier habits rather than indulging them? It's an ongoing struggle. I haven't figured any of these stuff out. No, I have not. The upside of having creative kids help me in a way that it's healing a lot of my scars on the inside. To do for them what I wish would have done for me, to create that safe space for them to just to go into the indulge in this another world experience. If you understand, like drawing for hours or do something like read for hours, you are not there. You are in another dimension, and you're not really aware of your surroundings. You're not sitting there like, look at me doing 20 minutes of drawing, look at me doing an hour and a half of reading. No, you are way off. You're living another lifetime of experience while your physical body just sit on your buttocks there. Feel safe enough to request that drawing equipment or ask for classes and share their interests with friends and find their cult and their group and feel included and belong into a friend group that celebrate their artistic skill rather than feeling the need to hide it like it's something shameful. It heals me on the inside very much. And you let me know in the comments what you think of my decision and whether you have to make similar decision in your life. Number one is that I'm becoming their role model because as I was supporting their artistic skills when they were younger, I was denying my creative energy. And I feel like a big hypocrite. It's like you tell them you can be whatever you want to be as long as you work hard at it. And at the same time, I am denying my own physical, emotional need to create and make me feel like a big hypocrite. I cannot say that with a full blown breath. It's like I lose my momentum halfway saying that because I know that I like I can't fully stand behind that statement when I am scared myself. When I don't think I can become something I want, and yet I'm telling them that they can, and it's laughable. So I want to become an artist myself is because I realize I have creative kids, and it terrifies me of the struggle that they are going to go through losing their autonomy to express themselves artistically and having to conform to certain social structure. I don't know whether they still have to go through that. It's their life decision. But the best I can do for both them and me is to be the role model, to first choose for myself to become an artist, show them successful artist what it takes, what it looks like in real life, and then the choice is theirs. I think that's as a parent I can do for them being a creative myself, and I feel like it's something they inherited from me and they did not choose to be creative, and the best I can do is to show them what to do with their creative energy. Another decision I made, a contract I made with them is to lose the expectation. Basically lose my right to live through them vicariously and decide that they can also be normal struggling humans like the rest of us. They don't have to be more wealthy, have higher social status to have easier life. They can also make their decision to be normal, struggling individual until they figure their life out. And it's none of my business whether they will do something that will perceived as successful or um prestigious. I am a normal person. I have normal kids, and they can choose to work as hard as they want, or they can choose to experiment life however they want. And I don't get to push them one way or the other. The only way I can do for them is to role model the best way I know how to live a life. And that's my contract with myself. And do I struggle with those contract and those decisions against my earlier programming of the society of my culture? Oh, yes, I do. And I will go through frantic anxiety that I am failing them. And I will make some parenting decision and realize that those are pointless expectations and demands. Yes, I do that a lot. And so I go back and forth and I'm improving. I try. So if you're here, if you're still here and you're listening to my story, I wonder if you are looking at your kids as a parent and struggle the same internal struggle as I do. I wonder if you have creative kids, or kids that's totally in their own world and do not meddle with the reality much. So I want you to know you're not alone and we're all in this journey together and we hope best of each other. And I appreciate that you're here. I appreciate that you listened to me babbling for this long. Please interact with my content, whether subscribe or follow or like, so that this podcast can reach more people who can relate to this feeling and topic and life struggles, so we don't ever have to feel alone in these time and days. And thank you. I will see you in next podcast. Let me see what is scheduled for next podcast. Ooh, okay. Yeah. In my next podcast, I'm talking about how starting an art business isn't for everyone. And it's speaking from my experience. So I will see you in the next episode. Keep dreaming and bye for now.